Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel Cracking IELTS 9.0. So today I'll be discussing the Cambridge 15 Test 3 Reading Passage 1 of the Academic Reading module. As you can see, the heading says Henry Moore, 1898 to 1986. The British sculptor Henry Moore was a leading figure in the 20th century art world. First of all, we have true, false, and not given questions. As we can see, there are 7 of them. And then we have the fill-ups from 8 to 13. So without wasting any time, let's jump to the first question. What does it say? On leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. Okay, so what are the keywords here? On leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. Okay, so he's talking about he did what his father wanted him to do. So let's find out. So let's read the first passage and try to understand. Henry Moore was born in Castleford, a small town near Leeds in the north of England. He was the seventh child of Raymond Moore and his wife Mary Baker. He studied at Castleford Grammar School from 1909 to 1915, where his early interest in art was encouraged by his teacher Elise Gostick. After leaving school, Moore hoped to become a sculptor, but instead he complied with his father's wish that he train as a school teacher. He had to abandon his training in 1917 when he was sent to France to fight the First World War. Okay, so what does this sentence say here? So after leaving school, Moore hoped to become a sculptor, but instead he complied with his father's wish. So he did what his father wanted him to do, right? That he trained as a school teacher. Okay, this guy Moore, he wanted to become a sculptor, but he followed his father's wish and he became a school teacher. He got trained as a school teacher. So what is the answer for the first one? I hope this is easy, guys. So on leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. Yes, this is absolutely true, right? Okay, what's the second question then? Moore began studying sculpture in his first term at the Leeds School of Art. Okay, what are the keywords now? He began studying sculpture in his first term at the Leeds School of Art. Okay, let's read further now. After the war, Moore enrolled at the Leeds School of Art, where he studied for 2 years. In his first year, he spent most of his time drawing. Although he wanted to study sculpture, no teacher was appointed until his second year. Okay. At the end of that year, he passed the sculpture examination and was awarded the scholarship to the Royal College of Art in London. In September 1921, he moved to London and began 3 years of advanced study in sculpture. Okay, so what do we understand from this passage here? Did he begin studying sculpture in his first term? See, read this sentence. Although he wanted to study sculpture, no teacher was appointed. See, there was no teacher appointed until his second year. So he studied sculpture only in his second year, not in the first year, right? So what do you think is the answer now? Moore began studying sculpture in his first term? No, this is false. Clearly, right? He began studying in his second term because there was no teacher available, right? Next. When Moore started at the Royal College of Art, its reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent. So we are talking about the college, the Royal College of Art, and its reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent. Let's read further now. Alongside the instruction he received at the Royal College, Moore visited many of the London museums, right? Practically the British Museum, which had a wide-ranging collection of ancient sculpture, During these visits, he discovered the power and beauty of an ancient Egyptian and African sculpture. As he became increasingly interested in these primitive forms of art, he turned away from European sculptural traditions. Right? So, in this passage, we didn't find anything about the reputation of the Royal College. Right? Even here, see, at the end of that year, he passed the sculpture examination and was awarded the scholarship at the Royal College of Art in London. In September, he moved to London and began 3 years of advanced study in sculpture. So here as well, we did not find anything related to the reputation of the Royal College of Art. So nowhere it is given whether it is highly reputed or not. Hence, the answer for this should be not given. Clear, guys? Next one. Murray became aware of ancient sculpture as a result of visiting the London Museum. Wow, so as a result is the keyword. He became aware of the ancient sculpture as a result of visiting the London museums. Let's find out. I think we have just read the paragraph. Murray visited many of the London museums, particularly the British Museum, which had a wide-ranging collection of ancient sculpture. So during these visits, he discovered, means he became aware of the power and beauty of ancient Egyptian and African sculpture. Yes. So during these visits to the London Museum, he became aware, means he discovered the power and beauty of the ancient sculpture. So the answer for the fourth one should be true. So fourth one is clearly true, guys. Okay. Next, the Trocadero Museum's Mayan sculpture attracted a lot of public interest. So the keywords are Trocadero Museum, Mayan sculpture, and attracted a lot of public interest. So let's read further. Yes, after graduating, Maurice spent the first 6 months of 1925 traveling in France. When he visited the Trocadero Museum in Paris, he was impressed by a cast of a Mayan sculpture of the rain spirit. Okay, it was a male reclining figure with its knees drawn up together and its head at a right angle to its body. Moore became fascinated with this stone sculpture, which he thought had a power and originality that no other stone sculpture possessed. He himself started carving a variety of subjects in stone, including depictions of reclining women, mother and child groups, and masks. So, the fifth one that we were discussing, the Trocadero Museum's Mayan sculpture, till here we had something in the paragraph. But did it attract a lot of public interest? No, that's not given clearly in the paragraph, right? So the answer should be not given. It has attracted our hero, Henry Moore, but it didn't. Whether it attract the public attention or not is not given in the paragraph. Hence, the answer is not given. Right. Then, Moore thought the Mayan sculpture was similar in certain aspects to the other stone sculptures. So Moore thought the Mayan sculpture was similar is the key word, in certain aspects to other stone sculptures. So let's read further. So in the same paragraph that we just read, we will read this sentence again. Moore became fascinated with this stone sculpture, which he thought had a power and originality that no other stone sculpture possessed. Means no other sculpture has the same has the originality as this Mayan sculpture, right? So he thought, see, Moore, which he thought had a power and originality that no other stone sculpture possessed. So no one possesses this style and originality, right? So what should be the answer? Well, what he says, Moore thought Mayan sculpture was similar in certain aspect to other stone sculptures. No, it is clearly false. It is original and it is a unique in style. It is not similar to any other styles, right? So next one, the artist who belonged to Unit 1 wanted to make modern art and architecture more popular. Okay, so the artist, he's talking about some artist who belonged to Unit 1 wanted to make the modern art and architecture more popular, right? So let's read this para. Murray's exceptional talent soon gained recognition, and in 1926 he started work as a sculpture instructor at the Royal College. In 1933, he became a member of a group of young artists called Unit 1. Okay, here is our keyword. The aim of the group was to convince the English public of the merits of the emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. Wow, so what does the last sentence mean? Any idea, guys? The aim of the group was to convince the English public of the merits of emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. It means they wanted the people to know about this art and architecture more. Okay, by telling them the merits, means the benefits, the advantages of the international movement in art and architecture. This means that they wanted to make the modern art and architecture more famous, right? So the question that we saw should be true clearly. Okay, by telling the merits of this modern art, they wanted to make it more popular. So seventh one is clearly true. Okay, so let's move to the next set of questions now. So here we have the fill-ups. Please notice the instruction. We are allowed to write only one word. Okay, so what's the first blank we have? Murray is urged to offer his dash and leave the Royal College. Murray is urged to offer his dash and leave the Royal College. The hint is 1930s. So let's look at the paragraph. Around this time, Murray moved away from the human figure to experiment with abstract shapes. In 1931, he held an exhibition at the Leicester Galleries in London. His work was enthusiastically welcomed by fellow sculptors, but the reviews in the press were extremely negative and turned Murray into a notorious figure. There were calls for his resignation from the Royal College, and the following year, when his contract expired, he left to start a sculpture department at the Chelsea School of Art in London. Wow. We'll read the last sentence again to understand. There were calls for his resignation from the Royal College, and the following year, when his contract expired, he left. Okay. So there were calls means that he was urged, right? So Murray is urged to offer his what? Resignation and leave the Royal College, right? Next. Murray turns to drawing because dash for sculpting are not readily available. Okay, something is not readily available. That's why he turns towards drawing again. So let's see what is it. So in this para, the hint is 1940, right? So during the Second World War, Murray stopped teaching at the Chelsea School and moved to a farmhouse about 20 miles north of London. A shortage of materials forced him to focus on drawing. He did numerous small sketches of Londoners, later turning these ideas into large colored drawings in his studio. In 1942, he returned to Castleford to make a series of sketches of the miners who worked there. Wow. If we concentrate on this sentence, a shortage of materials forced him to focus on drawing. Okay, shortage of materials. Shortage means not available readily, right? So he turns to drawing, means he is forced towards drawing because materials were not available, right? Materials for sculpting are not readily available. There was shortage of materials, right? Okay, while visiting his hometown, Murray does some drawings of dash. Hometown means the castle, fort, right? See the last sentence, guys. In 1942, he returned to Castleford. This is his hometown, right? To make a series of sketches. Sketches means drawings of the miners who worked there. So Murray does some drawings of whom? The miners who are working there, right? So miners is the answer. Next, Murray is employed to produce a sculpture of a dash. So he got some employment he is employed to produce a sculpture of dash. Let's read further. In 1944, Harlow, a town near London, offered Murray a commission for a sculpture depicting a family. Wow. So he got a commission means he got employed, right? He got employed for a sculpture to produce a sculpture depicting a family. So what is the answer? Murray is employed to produce a sculpture of a family, right? Dash start to buy Moore's work. So someone started to buy his work. Okay. The resulting work signifies a dramatic change in Murray's style away from the experimentation of the 1930s towards a more natural and humanistic subject matter. He did dozens of studies in clay for the sculpture, and these are cast in bronze and issued in editions of 7 to 9 copies each. In this way, Murray's work became available to collectors all over the world. The boost in his income enabled him to take on ambitious projects and start working on the scale he felt his sculpture demanded. Wow, so who's going to buy his work? So, in this sentence, in this way, Murray's work became available to the collectors all over the world. So, collectors were buying his work. So, the answer for 12th one is collectors, clearly. Right, so this is quite simple, and Murray's increased dash makes it possible for him to do more ambitious sculptures. So Murray's increased something made it possible for him to do some more ambitious sculptures. What is it? In the last sentence, the boost in his income enabled him to take on the ambitious projects and start working on the scale he felt his sculpture demanded. So Moore's increased means boost, right? Boost means increased. Enabled him means made it possible for him. So boost in the income. So his income got boosted like anything. So Moore's increased income, right, makes it possible for him to do more ambitious sculpture. So income should be the answer. I think we have answered all the questions now. So this passage I felt was quite easy, guys. I hope you have also felt the same way. So this is the end of this video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe my video. These videos are extremely helpful for IELTS aspirants. I am sure if you can follow my tips and tricks, be able to get more than 8 bands in the IELTS reading module. So don't worry about it, just practice and practice. So until next time, goodbye, have a great day.